Hello guys, and welcome back to the Rising Tide. In today's video, we will be continuing on our previous video on a React Native carousel, where for today we will be implementing some more complex functionalities. So from the documentation, npm documentation, if you scroll down, you're going to see some carousel animations here. So for this session, we will be implementing some of these animations, where I'll also be showing you how to adapt the animations into your project. Now, you all know that these animations were built using TypeScript. Like if you check the source code for this project, which is on GitHub, you'll see that it was actually built using TypeScript and it was built for a plain React Native project. So we're going to be adapting it using normal JavaScript and on an Expo project. So yeah, I'll be showing how to implement some animations. There are three animations that I did, like this one, this circular animation. We also did this fade animation, which you can see here. So if I show you my emulator right now, you're going to see these animations here. So this is the first one, which is a circular animation, where you can control the speed to be either fast or normal. You can also set it to autoplay, true or false, and you can manually shift it to animate. Now you also have this other one, which is the slide animation, where, as you can see, when I slide it, it is going to animate that in this circular way. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. As I earlier mentioned, this is going to be an advanced tutorial, which means that we're going to move a little bit faster than how we moved in the previous video. So if you haven't yet, please check out the introduction video where I showed you how to create this basic carousel, and before coming to this one. So I'm just going to start with this vertical carousel, where you have this vertical carousel that scrolls vertically and not horizontally like this one here. So coming to this component, by the way, all the code for this project is available on my GitHub. I'm going to leave a link to the particular branch in which it is available. It is the same repo, just a different branch, so do check it out. Alright, so here we have our parallax effect. I'm just going to comment out this horizontal one, the one we did in the first video, and we're going to come now to this vertical one, which is where we're going to start working from for this video. So all the code that I use for this is just a remix of what is found on the documentation. I'm also going to link that below, so do check it out. So what we did for this vertical one is we just copied the exact similar code to the horizontal parallax, but here we changed the vertical properties for the vertical scrolling. So we just added these properties to it, and that was pretty much it for it. So if you check out this code for the horizontal parallax, you're going to see that here we had this vertical effect, and here we just changed that to have more these other properties to it, to add to the carousel to make it scroll vertically. You may also notice that we added a different way to display the pagination, the items. So we added this SB item file, where we linked it inside of the pagination. So instead of rendering all the items like we did in the previous video where we rendered it directly inside, here I decided to use the SB item as it is in the documentation. So it is rendering almost the same thing, just on a different file. Actually, it is the exact same thing with just this border radius property that I added to it. So as you can see, that is everything we did for this vertical effect. So coming back to this, we're now going to create the other custom carousel animations here. The first one we'll create, it is going to be the circular animation. So I'm just going to call it circular, and I'm just going to create this file in this current directory. So I'll create a new file called circular.js. It says the file already exists. So yeah, it says the file already exists. So in here, I'm just going to remove everything, and we're going to build it from scratch. So here you don't have anything yet. I'm now going to create a new component. It's going to generate the boilerplate for our React Native component. So I just want to say that amongst all the components that we created in this tutorial, this circular animation is by far the most complex amongst all the 3 animations I created. So if we come back here to our documentations, let me zoom in a bit, and if you scroll down to where we have that circular animations, because I just don't want to show you how I wrote the code, but how you can also adapt any of these animations into your project. So here is it for the circular animation. So if you click on the circular link, it's going to open up that particular project. As you can see, this is the file with everything about that circular animation. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy all this code inside of here. I'll press Ctrl C to copy, and I'm going to paste it in here. So here I'm going to replace all of this with the new code. So like I said, this code here is built with TypeScript, so you're going to see all of these types being defined. So I'm going to bring back my emulator. The first thing you'll notice is that this particular one has a new library found inside of it. So you're just going to install that by running yarn add and giving it this string here, and that's going to install it. So once that is finished installing, you're just going to come here and we're going to start removing some of these TypeScript styles. The first thing we'll do is we're going to remove this star as from here, and then instead of saying import react.everywhere, I'm just going to select everything and I'm going to leave it like that. I'll press Ctrl space to import these libraries manually. So we're going to import the use state and the use callback hook. Down here we're going to remove this type, and for this one too, and that is everything for this animate function, this callback. So I'm just going to minimize that function now, and down here so I've accidentally saved it, so our app is going to crash right now. Down here it says we have an SB button, a couple of relative dependencies that were imported that were found inside the project. So we have to now create these files. So I already have the code for these files already in the project, so I'm just going to create them directly from here. The code for this is going to be found on the GitHub. So here I'm just going to come here and I'll create a new folder called hooks. In here, the first file I'm going to create is the SB image item. So this one, not SB image icon. So I'm just going to create a new file, call it that, and I'm going to copy the code for that particular file and paste it in because we don't want the tutorial to get too long. Alright, so the code for this file is the exact same as the code of the file. You can find it on your Git, on the documentation. However, I just removed some of those type checkings inside of the file to make it in plain old JavaScript, so everything should work properly. I'm just going to save that now and I'll close this file, and here I'm going to import it. So instead of importing it from this path, we're going to go to hooks. It will be /. So I'm going to import it like that. I'm going to do the same thing for this SB button file. So I'm just going to create a file called sbbutton.js. And I also like to mention that the path for these files may be different on the final project. This may be because I'm creating it in this video. I'm doing differently from the way it was in the finished product, so you may have a different file, the way the files are structured, but it's going to be the same code. So I'm just going to save that and I'm going to import that here as well. So in here, instead of this path, it's just going to be hook/SB button. And for this element, we did not make use of this window. Instead, we used the window dimension API. So I'm just going to say dimension.getWindow, which we have to import it. So this is it being imported here. Here we inside this the same direction. I'm just going to create this constant.js, and I will also copy this file and paste it in. So we actually did a lot of modification for this one. Like you see, before there were two properties being exported, that is this element text and the width, which we have removed. So I actually remove that other attribute, and I'm just making use of this element width property here, this element text rather. So I'm going to save that, and back here we're going to import it. So we'll go to /hooks slash constant. We're going to import this library there. So I'm just going to save that now, and let's try to connect it to the application to see if it's going to display properly. So I'll press Ctrl space. Oh, it's not saved as circular. Alright, so we have to rename the file as well. So the name of the function is not it's not index, but circular. I'm also going to export it down here. So down at the bottom, I have to export the circular. So after this, we're now going to come back to this our app.js file, and we'll import it. So Control space and then import it, and that's going to import that circular animation. So let's move this one to the up and wait for the animation to load. Alright, it says there's an error somewhere. It says SB button is not found. Let's go check that out. So scroll right up here, it says this is not alright. So it's not supposed to be /. We're pointing to a wrong path. So SB button, and for this one as well, we're going to remove that extra dot. We save that, and we need to refresh the application for it to take effect. So I'm just going to come here and hit R to reload the application. Alright, so after just restarting the application, you can now see here that we have a circular slider being displayed, and all the buttons, because we do not change it from the documentation. So this is what is actually displaying the images, which is this component that we customize here. So it is actually getting random images from this API, and based on the index, it's just rendering the images, which is from the documentation, like I'm saying. So all these styles are the default styles. We haven't changed anything there, just remove the type checking by TypeScript, and everything is working now just fine. As for the buttons, there are two buttons down here, which are these two S buttons. They are built based on passing down the button as props to the child component. So as you actually see, it actually takes in the button text, that is the children, and the on-press event, and it passes into the touchable opacity. So you can directly create these buttons inside of your application, but I guess it was an optimized way of doing it and not wasting too much memory. But I'm sure in your application you're not going to use this button, so I think that is fine. But the functions to actually enable the autoplay, it is just a state called set autoplay, which is set to toggle the autoplay value to either true or false. So this is what this button does. So if you want to include it in your project, you just need to set the autoplay to whatever value you want. The one up, it is set is fast mode, which is toggles the fast mode. It is actually consumed up inside of the carousel by saying if it is fast mode, you set the speed to 100, I will set the speed to 2 seconds. So if it is fast mode, it's going to be 0.1 seconds, and if it is not fast mode, it's going to be 2 seconds for the animation. So the other value autoplay is this one, which also sets it to either show autoplay or not, and toggles the text. So that is everything for this particular animation. Just going to save that, and here let's click on autoplay, and as you can see now, our app is going to start animating automatically. So if you change the mode to normal and not fast, it's going to animate with a 2 seconds delay between the animations. So that is everything for the circular animation. I'm just going to close these files. Close the wrong file. Alright, so I'm going to comment out these two components, and the next one we're going to create is actually, let me pull up the documentation real quick. The next one we created, alright, so this is the second animation we created, which is this fade in, slide, rotate. I'm just going to create this file in the project. So back into our project, I'm just going to call it fade, slide, rotate or something, and we're going to create this file now. So in our components, I'm just going to create that file, and just like for the other one, we're going to come back to the documentation and we'll copy the code for that particular animation and paste it in. And now we'll now refactor the TypeScript type checking. So we remove that number checking, change this to a normal hook, and remove this React here. And now import the use callback hook normally. I don't believe there's a with checking, but for this one, we just also remove it and replace it with the dimensions API. So we'll say dimensions dot get window width. Are we supposed to have a scaling on this thing? Right, so this function works well as is the same function, a similar function to the circular animation. Also, I'm going to minimize it, and down here, or sorry, up here, we'll now just change the way the path to the imports. So for this first one, it is the same path, so it's dot slash sb item, which is this file here. For this second one, it is this path to the constant variable, so it is slash hooks slash constants. And with the third one, it is, I believe it is a similar path. We haven't created that yet, so let's create that file. So inside this hook folder, we're just going to create that component, and just like the other ones, I'm going to copy it from my external screen and I'll paste it in here. So like I made mention earlier, we actually did change the path to some of these functions. So for this one, you may notice that it is found in the same, this SB button is found in the same path. So we're going to update that and we save it. And in here, we'll now also change the importation to just this, and we save that. Now let's check out how it runs inside of our emulator. Alright, we forgot to actually import it in our app component. Oh, before that, we also need to rename the file, rename the function name. So instead of index, we have to call it fade in rotate, and then we export it, and up here we just import it. I guess we had an error with this autoplay button, which I also added inside the tutorial. I guess there's something wrong with the button. It's not displaying for my device. I'm going to save that now, and we have to reload our application again. After importing that, there are a couple of customization that I did. For instance, I actually added these styles. I changed the style from flex1 to a container, which I've linked it down here so you can see the styles. I also imported the style sheet as well. For the app not to crash, you have to import it. Another thing I did was I actually exported the list of images from our initial parallax file. So Up here inside this initial parallax file, remember in the first video we created this list and exported it. So I actually exported the list, and then in here you can import it, and then you then consume it within your applications. So I believe that is everything that is different from your default one. Also, I also remove that scale property at the end here to make it easy. So if you save that now, that is going to that will download your fading carousel, and that should be it. So alright, so our carousel is finished loading, as you can see it right now. If you pull, it's going to start swiping, and everything is working fine. I believe you can also change this thing to be automatic as right, autoplay status. You can change it to true or false if you desire. If I set it to true, that's going to animate it automatically. Alright, so back into our app component, I'm just going to now bring back this circular one. It is the same as it was in the initial project. So that is the main part of this tutorial. A bit of context on how some of these files work. For instance, let's take in this circular animation, because there are a lot of other sub components inside. The first one we're going to talk about is the button. The SP button, like I earlier mentioned, is just a button, a custom button that takes in the prop. The prop is the children, and it is also the function that you want to load. So down here, these are the buttons. It takes in the onPress function and the children for the button. So that is everything that the SB button component does. The SB image item component, it just renders the image. It takes in the image as property and it just renders it. That is for this one. I mean, then the text element hook. The text element hook just simply renders what is inside the autoplay state button. So if it is true or false, so that's what the autoplay button is going to render. So that is everything about these files and what they do. So that is everything for this tutorial. Please leave a comment below if you didn't understand something, or if you believe the tutorial was moving really fast. I'm going to leave my contact details, so you can feel free to message me if you have any issues, maybe trying to integrate a particular carousel slider into your application and you're having difficulties with it. Yeah, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.